Hello everybody and welcome to today's LinkedIn profile building workshop. This is session 1 and I just want to welcome all of you. We have a lot of new students with us on the line, and just to make sure everyone should have received not just your link for this class, but Stephen had sent out an informational email that had a link to materials that you were to download, as well as videos that you could watch ahead of time, and we'll reference some of the material and the videos here. And we want to make sure that you have access to as many tools as possible. What we find is that there's over 250 million people on LinkedIn, and virtually 250 million people are at all different levels. So whether we have a class of 30 or 300, we see this pretty consistently. So we just want to make sure that you have access to and see those emails that are coming from us. And we're going to talk to you a little bit about the sequencing on classes here in a few minutes. But I do want to welcome everybody. We have a lot to cover, so we're going to move into this. Now, as always, when engaging with us, see if we can get that, yep. So when engaging with us, we want to make sure that you see the GoToWebinar interface, so the questions area. So just so that we're sure that you have found this area, please type into the questions area, "I found it," or "hello," or "hi." So we have that. So, and Stephen, I'm getting a whole lot of feedback from you, so I'm going to mute you. Okay. There you go. Stephen is assisting us on the back end here. So if you could, please type into the questions area on the GoToWebinar taskbar. Yes, we have Laurel from Milwaukee checking in. Everybody could type in just so that we know that you can ask questions and interact with us. It's on the GoToWebinar taskbar, and it's the questions box like we're showing on the screen. Welcome, Ed. All right. Jillian is here. Joy, welcome. All right. Pat, did you find it okay? Just want to make sure everybody's finding it. All right, I know Paige is in, so Paige, want to make sure you can ask questions as well. Harvette, did you find it okay? Okay, so I'm just letting everybody find the questions area. Okay, let's keep moving here, so we want to make sure that you can ask questions. All right, so you guys are in. Good. Now remember, if you lose our screen at any time, let's say you go to open, some people have 2 monitors and some have 1. So sometimes, and we're going to give you the access to the recordings and the slides so that you can print these out and you can watch the recordings as many times as you need to. And that may be necessary based on what we learned here today. And you may be opening up your LinkedIn at the same time. What will happen is you may lose our monitor or our viewing screen. When you do that, you just click on the little flower here on the bottom of the taskbar. You see how I have a Microsoft taskbar and a Mac taskbar? It's the same thing. It's a little flower on there. And I think most times the flower is yellow. Okay, so the next thing is we want you to engage with us. So please make sure, number 1, you have plenty of note-taking material. Namely a paper and pen will work just fine. And then also maybe turn off your cell phone and email to remove all distractions. I just closed mine as well. I'm going to set my phone on Do Not Disturb. Okay, with that being said, let's go ahead. And I believe most of you know me. You're right. No, you will not interrupt class. Don't worry about that. So you guys will have access to more recordings than you know what to do with. We're constantly burning recordings too, so you're good, Pat. You're all good. So my name is DeLisle. I'm founder and CEO of Forward Progress, and we have actually hit 80,000 students trained and coached. So Stephen, we can start updating our stat officially as of last week. So that is very cool. And we have the pleasure of coaching and training folks, and then we also have a services division that does a lot of, we post and blog over 10,000 pieces of content a month for our clients. In doing that, we get to see what works and what doesn't work. So, and what we do is we collaborate with the folks on the educational side here, and we get to share that with you in this education and training. So the things that we're training you on are the exact same things when we take an entire organization or an entire staff of salespeople and we take and launch them into the internet for effectiveness and converting their networks into business. So we want to make sure we give you that same benefit. So very, very cool. All right, now let's get into it. So the upcoming sessions that you have is the LinkedIn Profile Building Class 101 is today. Social Jack Orientation 202 is next Tuesday, and a lot of you took the 201 class on this Tuesday. However, you'll also have access to it next month. So if it's a little too much for you to take the additional classes right away, you can either watch the recordings or you can always attend next month. Now, one of the things that we also put you in a little bit early was our group coaching. And some of you attended that yesterday, and what that gives you the benefit of doing is asking whatever questions you want. So Pat, let's say all of a sudden you have a big corporate meeting that comes up, or you're traveling and you can't make a class, you watch the recording, and now all of a sudden you have questions, right? You're building your profile and you have questions. So now you can go and come to the group coaching session on Wednesday at noon, jump in and ask us whatever you want. You can also send in questions ahead of time, and Stephen has been taking those at stephen@forwardprogress.net. And when he gets those questions, he makes sure that you get to the top of the list with those questions, and we cover all that, things that you want to figure out how to do. And they don't even have to be related to this class. Let's say you have email marketing questions, Pinterest, Twitter, it doesn't matter. Ask us whatever. We put our whole staff on task for everybody here. So we're here for you. And LinkedIn Profile Building Class 102 is next Thursday, so this follow-up class to this at noon Central. And then we have some advanced sales classes complimentary coming your way after that. So please make sure you watch your inbox for notifications. And these are all different links, right? So Citrix requires that we have different links for each one of these. So I think Paige was having an issue getting in, and maybe one of the other students here, and so we want to make sure that you watch your inbox. And sometimes for the first time that you're getting used to this with Citrix, it may go into your spam folder, your junk folder. So please, if you're not getting those notifications, let us know. We'll help you work around it, or look in those folders and tell your system it's okay to receive these Citrix webinar, GoToWebinar notifications. All right, so your roadmap to success is about building and optimizing your LinkedIn. Next Thursday is about LinkedIn Profile Building Part 2. So we're going to get into connections. So let's get into actually real quick. We have this assignment tracker that I'm sure most of you that are repeat students are familiar with, and those that are new, what we do is we have you write down the task that you need to complete from today's class. So as we get into settings and maybe we get into keywords, you're not going to be able to do it while you're on this class. You're not going to do a good job. So you need to make sure that you write down follow-up tasks. Also, give yourself a due date. And then make sure that you leverage people to help you, maybe people in the office, people on your team. Maybe you leverage next Wednesday's coaching session. Right? Put Social Jack Wednesday coaching session under leverage, and you can bring any open questions or things there if we can't cover them today. And then make sure that you understand the real benefit of why you're doing these things. Okay, so all good. So that's why we give you this assignment tracker, and again, some of you use Outlook to-dos, and you have different systems for this, but we want to make sure that you have a way to track the open items, because everything that we're teaching you is guaranteed as you combine these efforts and these tasks to bring you referrals and new business. Why would you not do it? So it is extremely important, and we follow these monetized tasks all the way back. Right? We have a lot of curriculum writers here, a lot of folks that help us with this, and we've proven this time and time again, right? We've trained and coached over 80,000. So please follow everything that we're telling you, and the things you cannot get to, make sure you put them on a task list and get them done. Now, real quick, because we see a lot of organizations, small and large, right? And it's the mindset that creates this shift. A lot of people come into this class particularly because it's an entry-level class, and they're like, well, I'm just going to fill out this profile, and that'll be a checkbox off my list, and I'm going to move on to the next thing. However, real quick, I just want to see if you could type into the questions area, what do you want to get out of your LinkedIn profile? Do you want to get maybe a career movement, or do you want to get new sales? Are you building a business? I just want to see where everybody's coming from in terms of their goal here, if we could. Just type that into that questions area. Connections for increased business, build my business, building a new business. That's what we have so far. So it looks like most everybody is building Perfect. Improve representation. Good. Yes, so Director of Career Development, that's awesome. Yes, speaking engagements, right on. Yep, we use it for that too. Learn to help clients and find jobs, perfect. Yes, you guys are on this. Okay, good. So I just want to make sure I was holding content for the same vision. So you can do all that. I can guarantee you increased business. You know, I've written and taught graduate level programs on this. I have an 8-week graduate course that is run over at University of Illinois Chicago, so UIC campus for their graduate school. So those of you that said you're with universities or helping people find jobs, we use it for career as well as building business, and we have a speaking engagement pursuit here as well, and we use it to get our own speaking engagements. Right now, remember the social networks that you already know. We talked about that on the entry-level one. So make sure you recognize that you are the hub of this social network. This is extremely important for you to understand. And don't forget, we also covered in the preliminary webinar that brought you here that there are degrees of separation that you cannot see until you are trained to see them. Okay, and this is where people look and they go, oh, I just have 50 connections or 200 connections. Well, that's not true. Based on those connections, you have different layers of your network, and the more targeted that you get in your profiles, it is unbelievable what you attract. We have a couple of clients just recently that took the entire team, put them through the course, and within 30 days, they started getting inbound referrals because they had the right keywords, they started connecting and engaging with their networks, and they just followed some of the principles. You know, they didn't do everything that we taught them. They did about half of what we taught them, and they already started seeing results, and now they're committed to their 20 minutes a day, and things will get you in down the road here. But it all starts with this profile, because the profile is the reputation builder. It's the credibility builder. So Laurel, if all of a sudden, you know, I'm giving a referral to you, right, to learn how, you know, because you help your clients find jobs, right, and so I say, wow, I know Laurel, and she's a rock star. Well, what's going to happen is when I give you out as a referral, whatever level this person is in my network, they're going to actually Google your name, and they're going to look at you on LinkedIn, especially if I say you help people find jobs. So they're going to look at the very best representation of you before they pick up that phone or email you in a lot of cases. And this is what we're tracking, is a lot of people aren't even asking people for the referral. They're creating a search, right? They're creating a search, and when they do that search, all of a sudden you're popping up based on these connections and based on what's in your profile. So if it's like, I need help finding a job, then all of a sudden, Laurel, you should pop up at the very top of your network based on your connections and the content in your profile. So I want you to hold that and write some notes on that. This is probably one of the most profound things, and now we're going to give you some tactics. So remember, if you have an average, you know, like the average is 240 connections. You're 1 degree from over 35,000 connections, right, at your next degree, and you're 2 degrees from 3.2 million. And just real quick, if you want to see your number, you just go onto your LinkedIn homepage, and it says your LinkedIn network right here. It says 3,377. I am connected to 16.7 million professionals, right? And I had 66,000 new people since November 4th. So when you look at this on yours, you can actually see how many people do you have and how many people are you gaining because of these connections, okay, because of these other layers in your network. And this is just with one connection, right? If that's a very good solid connection, you're going to really gain that. And this is all done through network science. So we're going to take you at a later time into Social Jack. We have way too much to cover today. So we really want to make sure that you know, that you listen to the Social Jack classes, and you'll probably have to take them 2 or 3 times, because it's a science that we're teaching you under the layer of building your network. And you can use this to build your entire business. We have doubled and tripled revenue within companies by teaching their staff collectively how to do this together. And we guarantee it, right? It is a proven science. This is a .com map that shows you the path to funding, money, technology, and how they go public and how they build. So we track this at a very small level. If you're a top producer making $200,000 today and you want to make $1 million by next year, this will work to do that. I don't care if you're making $20,000 this year and you want to get to $50,000. It helps you do that. And we've proven that. We have 100% placement in our graduate school program with everybody making either career movement or building a business. So all of you have this at your fingertips, so please follow through. We're going to teach you in that class, and a lot of you did this on Tuesday, and you can go back and watch the video, or you can wait till next month, but we taught you the network science of the relationship. So as you see the connection and the wiring of how you're connected, you can actually see this within your LinkedIn, and that's what we're going to take you and set you up with today. So I just want to make sure that you understand, if you took the class on Tuesday, you know, how this is connected to your profile. Now let's do our first assignment together, okay? This is called your professional keywords, and what you want to think about is, you know, what are you an expert in? How would your ideal prospect find you? If they were to type into Google, what would they type in to find you? So give me your top keyword. Just type it into the questions area, like the #1 thing or the #1 skill or the #1 phrase, and this could be 2 or 3 words, right? You know, best mortgage broker in Chicago. You know, it could be a couple. So we have one coming in, ghostwriter. Actually, Laurel, we should talk offline. Might have some interesting referrals for you there. So type this in, because, you know, you never know. When you type this in, you might be a great referral source for us in terms of getting you business. So what is the one thing? Give us a phrase. Ooh, safe specialist. I like that. Marketing, events, publishing. Technology leasing specialist. I love it. That's very clear. Nice job, Edmund. Marketing, events, that's good. So type in your 2 or 3. Okay, good. Yeah, so you guys are getting this, right? So that's your main thing. And then you have a lot of other ones. And I'm giving you this mortgage one on the bottom here as an example. Yeah, resume writer, designer, there you go. Now this is what happens is we want to make sure we start at the one that's bringing us the most money, right? The one that we're the very best at. Oh, I missed a couple here, electronic system solution specialist. So now think about that. That's what you call it, or that's what you call it yourself. Now, Laurel, I have some advertising coming in, so this is good. So you guys are getting this game. Now, what would somebody type in if they were looking for you in Google? What would they be searching? What would they be typing in? So think about what they type in, right? So it may be resume writer, it may be ghostwriter, but maybe your clients, if you listen to them, may have something else or something else that they call this, right? So like, for instance, you know, we have some people say refinance, but they say lowest rate. You know, lowest mortgage rate too, instead of just mortgage rate. So some people use mortgage rate, some people use lowest mortgage rate. And then don't forget about geographic. So what we'd like you to do is your assignment. I don't want you to do it now, but I want you to come up with at least 10. Now we're going to get into skills and things like that, where you can have up to 50, and you'll get there, trust me. But I just want you to come up with the top 10 sort of keywords, and then the top 10 phrases that people type in when they're asking or looking for business, right? So yeah, so career change, right? So you're a career change specialist, Laurel, right? So you're thinking good here, right? And so you're an editor, right? So an editor can be very encompassing. You might be a very specialized editor, a certain type of content. You know, there's advertising editors and things like that. So again, you know this space better than I do, but sometimes we're so close to it, we forget what our clients are typing into Google when they're looking for us. And you can use this methodology, yeah, technology asset management. I like that one. So you can use this in your website and in all your profiles. So what we're teaching you here is not just LinkedIn. This is for you, right? This is for you in everything you have on the internet. I don't care if you're putting up YouTubes. I don't care if you're tweeting. Whatever you are, these are yours, and you should have this, like, until you have them memorized. It should be wired in your soul. until you change it. So you should have it right in front of your monitor. I say make it your screensaver. You know, this is that important. Yes, so you guys are getting the game here. So make sure you document these and make sure that you have that. And I would make it an assignment that you block out at least a good hour. And do it with your team, you know, depending on how your team is. So we always say write down 10 things. Like I always say take a sheet of paper, put a line down the middle. Write down 10 things on the left that you call it, and then ask your clients or talk to your clients and find out the terms they would use. Because when you go to write your summary and your profile, we're going to have you utilize these keywords in there. So when we go into organizations, we have organizational keywords for those of you that are bigger companies that the company is using, and then you have skill-based keywords that are your professional keywords, your personal keywords, and this identifies you as the expert and the professional. Okay, everybody with me so far? You're getting the game here? You got the assignment? Because we're going to move on. So we have a lot to cover, and I want to make sure. Cool. Looks like you guys are on this. I love it. Very attentive today, too. Now, if you want to follow along, or you can come back, right, because I'm going to cover some things in LinkedIn. You can log into LinkedIn. And real quick, we're going to have a tour. And I'm going to give them a quick tour, Stephen, but let's make a note. I want to do a little more detailed tour that Stephen's going to record for you, and we'll make sure that everybody gets a copy for that. So I know we have that on the board. I want to make sure we do that. Now, LinkedIn has changed, but everybody on today's call should have the most current version of LinkedIn that I'm about to show you. Okay, there's a lot of updates, and I'm just going to show you the surface stuff so we can get to things when we need them. So we have the new search bar up here where you can search, you know, for people, jobs, company, groups, universities in your inbox, right? And you can search everything, but I always recommend that you, there is no version numbers, so it's really just, does your screen look like my screen? And if it doesn't, make note of it or ask us, and we'll tell you where the things are that we're talking about. But everybody should have this screen, and so the search has now been moved up at the top here. And the advanced search is right next here. We'll reference this more next week and in the advanced classes. Your menu should only have 5 items. The home page, which gets you back to the page that you log into, you know, where you're home. LinkedIn profile, where you can edit profile and see who's viewed your profile. The network is your contacts, where you add connections and you find alumni, which we'll get into more in the advanced section. Jobs, some of you are on the career path here in terms of either helping recruit resume writers or jobs. This is a very powerful section. And then your interests. So there's companies you can follow, groups you can participate in, influencers who are influencers in industry and news. And yes, you can be an influencer, but there's a very long waiting list now to be an influencer. So I would focus on some other things first. And then education, right? So you can, your interests or education, this is your education affiliates. They now have university pages that allow you to interact better with your alumni groups and universities. So we work with a lot of universities and, you know, as clients that come in here, and so we are very familiar with how that section works. Now, in terms of your inbox, if you want to just go to your inbox, you just click on the envelope. That jumps you to your inbox. Okay, when we go to notifications, you see at the top right here, these are just what everybody is typing in, or if people like an update. So, so 14 people liked my update from yesterday, I believe. And then we have your endorsements and who viewed your profile and things like that. So you can sort of see who's playing with you and who's paying attention to you. And these might be signals for you to just connect to people. You know, they're sharing your updates and they're networking with you. So this gives you a real nice snapshot of how that's working. Okay. And this is about setup, not engagement. So we're not going to get into engagement tactics on this particular class. But you can watch those videos as well. Now, add connections is allowing you to build connections. We'll get into that next week. And then we're going to get into the privacy and the setting things here in a few minutes. However, on your page, you have the LinkedIn updates. You can sort your page by shares, connections, groups, profiles, and news. And when Stephen sends you the more detailed tour, you'll be able to see that a little better. And then you have 20 new updates here, and this is your LinkedIn news, and then it usually can go on forever and ever when you see these links. And see, I was bragging about you guys getting ready to start a new group of students, LinkedIn Profile Builder course. Watch for amazing new profiles to start showing up soon. That's you guys. I have faith that you're going to follow through on what we're teaching you. And then over here to the right, you can see people you may know, and this is always good to pay attention to. You can see recently, you recently visited, these pages. You can see where I've been. You can see who's viewed your profile. If you're on the free version like me, you can only see the first few people, which is usually more than enough. You can see who's viewed your updates. Right, so it'll show you, who's viewed the updates. Let's see, you can see, like I was showing you before, you can see your social reach and how your network's growing, and then other suggestions down here. So that's sort of the quick tour of just when you get into LinkedIn, and maybe there's a few things that resonated with you, like, oh, I'm going to go back and check out this university thing, or, I'm going to go find alumni, or now I know how to get to my inbox. A lot of people don't know that. No, that's not a preference setting on your home page, so that's interesting, Laurel, that you don't have that. So Stephen, just mark that Laurel on hers doesn't have that, and it may just not have appeared yet, or you might have to scroll down a little bit, but it should say your social LinkedIn or your LinkedIn network, and you might have a little different view on that right at this point, but we'll double check that for you. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, let me just make sure I'm not off track here. Right, so before we make any settings, we're going to go into the settings area, and there's a place where, let's say you want to make modifications, I'm sure, to your LinkedIn profile. You want to turn off activity broadcasts. So when we do this, we want to go into this setting, and we want to go to privacy and settings, and we're going to spend a little bit of time in here, so be ready to take lots of notes. But the privacy and settings, you see this? I click on my picture and go to privacy and settings. All right, and it's going to make me log in again. Holy smokes, I hope I remember this login. That's always my fear when I get here. Okay, good. You can always reset your password. Now, and it looks like most of you are watching me, or you have two monitors if you're doing this. So, all right, so now when we look at this, we have some things. We have your primary email. Now, we always recommend that you put in all of your email addresses, and the reason you do this is, let's say Christine, that all of a sudden, you have given a lot of people your Gmail address, or you have an AT&T address, or whatever addresses you have, but you also have a company vanity address, like whatever Christine@yourcompany.com, right? So, some of us have different email addresses. I've only ever had, in the last year or two, I've tried to keep it down to 2. However, I have other vanity ones that I use based on product lines that we have and things like that. And Stephen, now we have Social Jack email addresses, so we'll have to put these in here and make a note of that. But you'll see my primary one that the world sees is forwardprogress.net. But you can go in here and change and add your primary one, which is what the world sees and how LinkedIn communicates with you. And then you can go in and you can have all your other ones in here. Even my Facebook one is listed. And the reason that we do that, you just have to add and then verify. It's going to send an email to that Gmail account or that Yahoo account or your other account, and it's going to go, hey, this was just added to your LinkedIn account. Is this really you? And it's a security measure. Now, the reason you do that is because we're going to get into adding connections next week. And a lot of people might be adding you from Yahoo, and you have a Yahoo account or Gmail account or however you've registered with those connections. It helps people find you in your network. Unless you're hiding, this is a good thing, right? So we want to get found by people, other professionals, people from previous jobs, and maybe they have our personal address. Well, when they load their database, that's how LinkedIn makes the connection. So you achieve faster connections if you register all your email addresses, okay? Does this make sense to everybody? Give me a yes if you're with me, and it makes sense. Just type that in. I want to make sure that's clear because this is a very important connecting point. Cool. And yes, if you're efficient, you can just put a Y in there. Thanks, Laurel. All right, so now let's get into the privacy controls. And one of the first things under Profile, privacy controls, is to turn on and off your activity broadcast. Now, the reason you turn this off is because you're not advertising to everybody that you're like, hey, I got a new job. Oh, I just graduated college. And so depending on how you make updates in your profile, people are going to get notified in the network. Now, this could be a good thing. They could see that you're on the move, and it could promote people to call you. So we give you the option of doing it. However, if you're doing a complete overhaul, we always say, turn it off for the complete overhaul, and then, only go into the very, very, very best, the very, very best updates. Turn it on for those. Like I just added a picture. Everybody comes to check out the picture. So if you want everyone to come see your profile after it's all done, change your picture at the very end and make sure this is turned on, and your whole network will go, oh, so-and-so has a new photo. It's amazing how much that works. It's such a huge tactic. I have some people that rotate photos every other month. So now, and then make sure you remember to turn it on and off. So I put a big old Post-it on there and say, turn on broadcast. So just make sure you have some method to remember that. Select who can see your activity feed. Now, for me, I allow everyone to see it because I have nothing to hide and I want to attract people. So when I put an activity feed out there, an update, I want the whole world to see it. However, you can just do it within your network and your connections, right? Or only you. This is very private. I have hardly anybody that just keeps their updates to themselves. So, so actions that you've performed. So I would say leave this to everyone. That's our best practice. Now again, we're going to cover these quickly just because we have a lot to get to today. So please just make notes if you have to come back to it. Select what others can see when you view their profile. So I usually have full disclosure. When I'm viewing your profile, you can see that I viewed your profile. Now if you get into the anonymous factor here and you don't want people to see, right? You just want people to, certain people to see that, maybe your background or who you are. You will not be able to see others. So you are electing to not see the detail of others if you remove that detail. So you do have that option though. Let's see, select who can see your connections. This is one I usually recommend to set to only you. Even though we teach you in the sales tactics how to do network diving, there's different ways to get to it. I have a very mixed network. I have investors, and I have CEOs, and I have students, and I have a lot of people in my network of different levels of business. So you can have your connections see your entire network, or only you if you want your network to be private. Okay? And then change your profile visibility and status. We always recommend that everyone can see your great picture, right? So in addition, to users I message, my profile photo is visible to everyone, and then this just really gives you that profile visibility. And then let's see. Oh, manage your Twitter settings. If you want to have, sharing which Twitter account would you like to share tweets from. I have 2 of them, and so we have, who can see these Twitter posts. And so I'm really just outbound, and that's really how LinkedIn works best, is just having the Twitter become outbound. Now, in the communication section here, you have emails and notifications, so you can set all the frequency of your emails. Yes, you don't have to get every single email, and there are, you can spend literally 30 to 45 minutes in here, but messages from other members, right, you can modify this. So you can have invitations to connect, send me an individual email. Invitations to join groups, send me a weekly summary. Messages from connections, I'm going to change that from individual. So this means I can get it. Now, I'm in my LinkedIn all the time, and I have my mobile app. So a lot of times, I might, go, if I'm traveling, I don't want to get all those emails. I'll go to Weekly Digest. So I'll go back and forth on that. In-mails, introductions, and open links. I want to get those right away. So give me an individual email. New connection, suggestions, right? Individual email. Profiles sent to you from other people, individual email, because these are sales motions that I want to jump on. And then job suggestions, just give me weekly. And then you just save those changes. Now you can also look at updates and news. So you can update, when do you want to get your news updates. So my LinkedIn updates, LinkedIn Today, and my network updates I like to get regularly because I like to stay tuned into my news. Group digest, these are all your groups. How do you want your groups to communicate with you? You can have up to 50 groups. It's pretty overwhelming if you have all of these set to daily. Okay, so you don't necessarily want to have all those groups pounding your inbox every single day. Notifications, right? Likes, comments, and others. I like to get daily on notification summary, right? A daily digest. Give me a summary. Comments on your posts. I'd like to get individual notifications on my phone because then I can thank people right away. Accept invitations. I like to know who's trying to connect to me. Endorsements. Contact join notification. I like to get these in individual emails, and again, you can say no email. I'll just check it out when I log in. However, this connects me to my network who's networking with me, right? Because these people are giving me likes, comments, and responses, which are conversations. So in interest, if you were going to shut down everything else, I would recommend that you keep on messages and notifications because this is networking, right? All right, so let's go back in here, and then messages from LinkedIn. So this is announcements, tips, and insights, right? So I'm allowing them to send me this, and referrals for jobs at your company every 2 weeks. So there you go. Welcome back, Christine. I saw you were offline for a second. Looks like it's been resolved. Yes, the internet, right? Okay, so that's your email frequency. Cool? Now, again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time because I still have to get to your profiles today. And we'll cover a little more deeper on profiles next week, too. But I want to get you started on what you're going to write besides your keywords and look at these settings. Groups, companies, and applications. You can view your applications. You can go and reorder your groups, right? So you can play in this area when we get into groups, which is a little more advanced. And then account, those of you that have duplicate accounts, you can use this to close a specific account. No, you cannot combine accounts. And then there's advertising and privacy settings, and the rest of these are redundant to the previous settings that I showed you. So with that being said, are there any critical questions on your settings? But I would suggest going through these settings and getting to know them a little better. So going once, going twice. All right, let's get into the meat of the profile. Okay, I'm going to switch to slides just to make sure I'm keeping, yes, and so we had the keywords and you guys went through this exercise and you did receive a profile intake form that Stephen sent everybody in your packet of downloaded goods and materials. So in this it tells you the parameters, so the picture, the headline, and things like that, and the parameters that you have, 2,000 characters in your summary and things like that. Now, before you start making updates, we always recommend that you back up your profile. Back up your profile. This means that you export to a PDF. So what does that look like? That means that I go to my profile, right? I click on the word profile, I click on down here, and I export to a PDF. All right, why do I do that? Well, if I decide I want to switch it back and I made a mistake, I can copy and paste from the PDF my summary and my experience back into the updates that I made. So it allows you to revert back because there is no turning back once you update your LinkedIn profile. It's just, it does not store your previous profile. Is that cool? So there's a way to quickly update. We write hundreds of profiles a week for companies, and when we do that, we always make sure that we have a backup in case we have to go back. All right. Good. So let's get into the profile changes. So in terms of your overall profile, no, it does not restore. You have to copy and paste. I'm sorry. I know, but at least you have it, right? So it's a copy and paste, but at least you have it. Okay. So in profile changes, this is important. Your profile is you walking into a networking event. So you want to look sharp, right? You want to be clear, right? What will you do for others? What's the evidence? What's the credibility, right? Think about that. What do you want? What do you need? It's very cool being able to just be that clear. And so you'll notice, like, a lot of times you go into and Stephen, hopefully you're monitoring these questions that are coming, and I don't see any response on them right now. So when we get into actually walking into a networking event, and think of LinkedIn as a giant networking event, you want to be super, 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 super clear. Okay? So that means, like, have you ever been to a networking event and they're like, hey, give us your, elevator pitch, right? Give us your introduction. Well, that's what this is. This is your introduction, because remember, there's millions of people searching for exactly what you do each and every day. Each and every day. So we want to make sure that when they get here, they really get what you do. So let's talk about, the structure of that and what that looks like, okay? And so I'm going to take you live into editing your profile. So you go into Profile, Edit Profile. Okay, now you'll see that I get into edit mode here, and I can click to edit my name, edit my picture. Those keywords that we spoke about, once you get them nailed down, you're going to want to have the things that you're best known for. The things that you're best known for. You want to have exactly, right? You want to have exactly that clarity at the top. Right? So that clarity at the top. So now, I have mine. I used to have some things in there that people really didn't understand. I'm a social network architect. There's nobody looking for a social network architect, even though that's what I do. I map out social networks and people networks, right? So then I'm like, well, they understand relationship marketing and social networks, so that's what they're typing in, and that's how I want to get found, right? Social network and relationship marketing. Now, the rest of my department does an awesome job at social media. I'm not digital social media. I'm people, right? So I want to make sure that's clear. So I get into sales, trainer, and coach. Now, a lot of times people hire me for social network, trainer and coach, author, speaker. So Dean DeLisle, I make my money besides being the CEO here, right? So this is my message to the world. You have to define what is your message to the world and put that into your professional headline. Okay, and so when people are searching, these words get searched first, as well as combining them down below. And then also looking for the fact that when people see you, like across the room, there's a big arrow pointing down to you going, hey, pick Dean because he's, social network and relationship marketing, right? Pick Christine because she's advertising and marketing for baby boomers, right? That should be right in your headline, right? That should be so crystal clear. That's what you do. Right, and we have Laurel, right? Laurel is I believe, resume writing publisher, and sorry if I don't remember all these. We have a lot of folks in today's class. But, you want that to be so doggone clear that when people are typing it in, it's like, yes, that's exactly who I was looking for. And look, they're connected to Edmund and Jillian and Harvette and Jeff and Joy. They're connected to people that I trust. And this generates inbound referrals just from this thing that we're talking about right now by getting those keywords and that clarity down. And then when you do this, you now have your entire summary, your next sections to write about. And when you write this, you see it's real easy to edit. Just go into edit. And you have 2,000 characters to put all these keywords in and to speak to people. Your summary is like your first conversation, right? It's your first conversation with your network. So it shouldn't be this real dry resume type thing. It should be your first conversation. And you don't have to put thanks for visiting my profile. That's what I do. I know it's a lot of people do that, but it's whatever you would say to somebody that's like walking up to you and going, oh, hey, I see that you're a botanist. I see that you're a real estate person. I see that you're this person, right? Tell me a little bit more about what you do. And then what would you say to that person? And then remember those keywords and weave that into what you're doing. And maybe you have a lot of clients that you've dealt with that you can list, and talk about that, and you associate by those clients, right? So that's what your summary should be. And your specialties, yeah, you can get quite personal, right? This is a conversation, right? It's like you speaking to somebody. That's why it's social. Right, social networks. So we want to make sure you hold that contact. Not all of you have specialties. This was grandfathered in, and we still haven't gotten a clear answer to how much impact that has on search. Okay, So you still want to have this capability here to have the summary and specialties. Now, in the interest of keywording and search and getting found, right, you can now also, let's cancel this, and then you can also add video and imaging. So you can add a link or you can upload a file. You can create visual impact in your profile, right? So you can see I have a YouTube video here, and I have my ebook download here, and I have other things that I can include. So this is real simple. I basically upload a file or add a link, right? The link can be to, you know, my youtube.com, right, or my SlideShare, or any of my other social networks. And when I do that, right, I can press enter. Yeah, I don't have an actual one to use in reference, and I want to be sensitive on time here. So let's see if I can. Here, I'll cancel this. I'll go to one of these other ones here. Yeah, and I can't jump out to it, so I'm not going to do this. Okay, so basically everybody knows how to find you see all the slide shares that I have on there? Right? This helps me get found with all these keywords. Now notice when I put this in, when I add these, let's go in here, how to build your, all right, let's go to this one. So you see here how I have all my keywords and description. Google picks up this description. They pick up the YouTube video description with all my keywords, and they pick up the DeLisle, social networks, forward progress. These are all my keywords, right? Drive more leads, sales, activity, right? Billions of dollars, need leads, right? These are all my keywords that I've woven into this description. They're also in the description of the video online, and they're also in my profile in other places. Okay, you getting the game here? So you can go into here and add link or upload a file. Now the cool thing is you can add that or update that in every single section. So I can put all my keywords in here. I can add more videos, right? I have a little different variety down here in each one of my profile areas. Okay, I can also, so you see here I have my instructor, University of Illinois, right? I developed a career course, 8-week course, and I have that listed in my profile. Now, this is one thing that all of you will run into if you have multiple things that you do. Right, I have a holding company down here as well. So what I don't want to do is, because this was more present, it's only 1 year, 2 months, and you see how long I've had forward progress, right? 10 years, 11 months. Well, what happened was this was on top, and you see how I shift this around, and I can move this around and reorder my areas that are on my profile. So now you see that I have this drag to reorder this current position, and you can move them around based on the order that they matter to you. Okay, make sense? I'm not losing anybody, right? And I know you'll watch this again, so you'll get this. So the other main factor here is that when you go to edit this, you want to pick a company in the lookup, right? So when I look at the company name, I'm not going to mess with this. I'm afraid I'm going to mess it up. So, but you want to make sure you look it up and you don't just type it in, because what happens is it will find the company, wire you to that company along with the 10,000 employees or whatever the company is. And you need to do this in the past too. Where you can wire it to that business that's set up on LinkedIn, so that now all of a sudden you pick up the search indexing with this, as well as the credibility connection to it, and the logo shows up, right? So you see forward progress shows up there, UIC shows up there. And really, these were all independent companies that I owned or I had in the past here. So you'll see I don't have logos there. And the last one, when I left corporate America, back in 1983, a little while ago, now that I dated myself, there was Merrill Lynch, right? So, but between there, you know, I have no reason to set up these previous companies. You can see I'm very entrepreneurial, but that's okay. That's the message I'm okay with people understanding out there, okay? So now let's talk about, so what you're going to want to do though, and this is one of the mistakes people make, is they put no description. So it almost appears as if you're not complete. And this works against the scoring of your search and how you show up. So I don't care how little or how long you were there, if it's in your profile, make sure that you list a description. Now some of you were very active at school. Right? See if I have my education. So depending on what you did here, you can put a little bit or a lot, but the principles work out the same. If you have photos and documents and images of things you're proud of, you know, before you went to school, you put that in. If you have certain studies that relate to today's expertise, put that in. You should go back all the way, Laurel, so as far as you want. You see, I went to high school here just sort of testing to see how it would draw in. You know, usually I do this in just in Facebook, but this is more of a test. I would say just list your post-high school education. So as you see, you know, the things that I have in the back, and I don't even think CLC even exists anymore, so I couldn't get a logo, but you see how DePaul had a logo here and Purdue had a logo here because I connected to the actual university. So again, education works the exact same way as your history, exactly the same way. Just put in as much content with those keywords that are relevant. So Christine, if you studied advertising in school and things like that, put that in here and that will help you give more credibility to advertising all the way through your profile. Okay, and that goes for any piece of content that you're putting on the internet. You want to utilize those keywords and make sure that it reads well. Okay, everybody with me? Right on. Okay, so those are the main areas right now. I'm going to get to the advanced areas next week in terms of the add-ons, but let's just talk about the main areas. You're going to have enough to do with this. Now, skills and expertise. Okay, once you get education, experience, and summary down, and this is in your worksheet that you can follow, but skills and expertise are basically a way for you to add skills. And remember when I said your keywords, so let's say you put advertising. Right? Now advertising, you see how it came up with advertising, online, recruitment, advertising sales, interactive advertising, mobile advertising. You can list all these because these are recognized by LinkedIn. You could also put boomer advertising, and that's not looking up, but that is something that if you're really well known in and you want people to recognize you in, you can put that out. So for instance, you see that I'm well known in the world for lead generation, for online marketing, and all these cool things. What's interesting is I've trained and coached over 80,000 people in LinkedIn, but my LinkedIn right down here is like a 9. You know, it's just really how it works out with networks. When LinkedIn looks at this and they're pushing you around the internet, they're pushing some of these because in my profile I have things about lead generation and online marketing and social media marketing and social networking and small business and marketing strategy that show up at a higher index level than the word LinkedIn, which I'm okay with because there's so much more that we train and coach on than just LinkedIn. So that's just how it works. So now you need to add these 50 skills, and when you do that, you're gonna see all kinds of things that pop up, and then you're going to have to test this because as people endorse it and recognize you, you're going to have to make choices and go, man, everybody's telling me I'm really good at YouTube, but I really want to be known for event marketing, or I'll take out event marketing and replace it with whatever else you guys recognize me for, because this is what people are either typing in or recognizing in you. So, and you can go in here and edit these. You can manage your endorsements and sort of look at, the people that are endorsing you. So this is sort of a new area. May not be on everybody's yet, but you can also hide and show your endorsements. However, I can't think of a good reason to hide them. Everybody asks me that, but I don't think of a good reason. Okay, so are we good on the first part of your profiles? Okay, I want to be careful I don't go too far on this. Yeah, let's go to additional info, and then I have your other contact info, and then I think that's going to be good for now. So in additional info, right, you have interests. When you get to interests, right, I have executive coaching, training, We're going to get on that. That's on engagement, Jillian. So we'll get to that in another class. I want to stay on the profile and attracting people to you. So we'll get to that in a later class. But that's a great question. Or bring it to coaching next week, and we'll handle it there. Okay. So you'll see that I also, right, like classic networking, technology, educating, others, martial arts, family activities, mountain biking, Frisbee. I connected with somebody, a bunch of people on Frisbee. It was awesome. Used to be a big, actually I still love playing Frisbee. Baseball, football, writing, all sports, playing drums, mountain biking, and family activities, right? Well, what this does, interestingly enough, is it connects me to my network. So you want to make sure you have a comma in between these, but just like if I want everybody in my network that's into Frisbee or playing drums, right, so I'll just put playing drums, and everybody that's a musician or has ever played drums pops up in my network, right? So I can actually see personal things, and we get wired by those personal interests. Is that cool? So in there, in our interests, additional info, we want to make sure we put this in there. You can also have, so everybody get that? See martial arts. So if I want to see all my martial artists in my network, I can click on that little link. So make sure you fill this out with the things that you really love doing when you're working and not working. These are both professional and personal interests. Cool? Just say cool if you think that's cool, because I think it's cool. And when you get into our classes and more into Social Jack, you will understand the power of this interest area. It is so powerful. Also, don't forget about personal details, birthdays, marital status. If you want to put those in there, you know, you can not put them in there if you choose to as well. And then this is probably another profound thing that a lot of people leave out. But what this is when people are searching for you, it gives you advice that you can give them in a snapshot ahead of the summary. So in a search, when they highlight you, it's like, you know, you can actually speak to them here and tell them how to get a hold of you. So we always recommend that you put a single paragraph, maybe your one statement about how you can't wait to help people, and then also how to get a hold of you. And this is advice, and this is all found under additional info. Okay? And I'm going to show you all these other cool things next week, the add-ons. We're not going to get to these just yet. I want to make sure you get core profiles. Now, as part of well, let me show you one last thing, and then I'll tell you what else we're gonna offer for you. Let's see. So now we have LinkedIn. You see where my name is right here, Dean DeLisle? Does everybody have this set? Or do you have like numbers, like a bunch of numbers after this? So those of you that, now we don't recommend you change your name. If you can, use your original name. But when you go in to edit this, you're going to get a screen that looks just like this. We want to make sure that you have all these check boxes because you're making this visible to search as well as visibility. So make sure you have all these boxes checked, and then down here you have your current URL, where you can customize your public profile URL, where you can claim your name. If it says your name is not claimable because it's a common name, I'm just looking down the list here. Most of you guys should be okay. And if not, use middle initials, middle name, whatever. But this should, when you get this, this should go on everything. Business cards, website, email signatures. This is your LinkedIn direct link. Once you set this, okay? So this is that link that everyone should get and that everyone should see on every piece of correspondence. So if you have a bio on your website, you should have your LinkedIn profile link directly on your website. This will, again, help you wire everything together. Your Facebook, right, if it's open account from a professional standpoint, should have that link going back there. And then last but not least for today, make sure you edit your contact information. Where do you primarily work? What's the number we use to get a hold of you? What are your other websites and Twitter accounts? And real quick on the websites, I know we might run over by a few minutes, but we are recording, so no fear. So when we go in here for websites, right, we click on here, and you'll notice that I've selected Other for Forward Progress, not my company website. The reason I do this is because I want to index Forward Progress with Google. So I go into websites and I go to forward progress and I type that in there and I type in the domain right here. And here I type in forward progress Facebook and I go to my Facebook company page. These are the 3 top pages that I want to index and have people find. Then my Dean DeLisle page, right, goes to my DeanDeLisle.com page, which we're currently rebuilding, but there is one up there. So Google will constantly index Dean DeLisle, forward progress Facebook, and forward progress. Make sense? So that's why you select other, because you get additional, as Joe in our team would say, search juice or search love, because there's a link going back there. And then you can put a number of Twitter accounts if you have those linked to your site. Does that make sense to everybody? So we'll cover a little bit of this next week in our review class, and then you can bring any questions into Wednesday's coaching session. But please, keywords, headline, right, picture, summary, experience, education. Use those keywords throughout your entire profile. And then if you have any challenges with adding pictures, that's all right. We'll be connected now for sure. You guys are welcome to connect to me, right? Just make sure when you connect to me, just give me a nice little, give me a reason why we're connecting, right? Tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me how you see us working together, and love to hear from everybody on that. All right, so any last minute questions? I'm going to hang on for a minute if you have them. Otherwise, we'll give you a wrap up on assignments here. All right, I know I have a lot of screenshots in here showing you the things that we just talked about. All right, let's go. Book a meeting right now with your team. Yes, we're going to repeat coaching dates in 2 minutes. It's every Wednesday at noon Central, just so you know, and we'll get a link for those. Fix your profiles, right? So rebuild, facelift. I like to say upgrade your profile. So Stephen will change that language. I don't think a lot of them are broken. They just need a little love and attention and updating. Remember your keywords, right? So don't forget those keywords. Search for yourself. Type yourself into Google. Search for yourself in LinkedIn. How do you come up? You should be the #1 person because you're connected to yourself, plus those keywords. And then we'll get into peer review next week. Let's just worry about building and writing. Don't forget to back up those profiles and be active, okay? And so don't forget about next week's class is Thursday, November 14th at 10 a.m. Central. And I made a mistake on the LinkedIn. Yeah, I put noon Central here, but it is 10 a.m. Central. I forgot about that. So this slide is wrong, and that's my fault. So LinkedIn profile building class today. Social Jack Orientation 202 is next Tuesday. That one is at noon Central. Open group coaching is every Wednesday at noon Central, where you can ask as many questions as you want. We fill up the whole hour with questions and answers. And then the follow-up class to this is actually at 10 a.m. So before Stephen sends out the slides, he'll correct this mistake I made on that one. And that's it. Wow. Only 2 minutes over, and we did have a jam pack. So make sure you hold those notes. Now set a time in your calendar when you're going to actually do the work. Okay, so book it so it becomes real. So go into your calendars right now and book when you're going to work on this profile, and make sure you do it well before Wednesday's coaching session, so you can come into Wednesday's coaching session and we can really rock and roll next Thursday. Is everybody good with that? Yes, yes? Did you guys learn some good stuff today, right? You took some good notes and you're good to go? Good. So also, when you're done, send us your profile to take a peek at for you. We will take a look at your profile for you. Send it to us and just let us know what it looks like, okay? And we are there to support you all the way through this. Our profile writers are standing by, and they write profiles all the time, so we'll easily spot anything that you may need help with. Deal? Deal. All right, everybody. Well, listen, we will look forward to seeing you looking amazing online, and we will see you in the next class. Take care. Oh, if you want to send the profile, send it to Stephen@forwardprogress.net. We'll make that as a slide too. All right, thank you, everybody. You could just actually send us your link. Yes, send us your link. We want to see your link. We want you to use that link as if it's something that you're using every day, because you should. Send us your link, not the PDF. We want to go look at the profile because we're going to test your search too. All right, now that's it. Everybody, we will see you online. Take care.
The organizer has